Shalom to nation Israel. This is Barzal coming in spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai Bahashem, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstone, and to hopefully push his word and truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This was me titled The Cruel Lord. The Cruel Lord, or the last cruel Lord. I say like that. The last cruel Lord. So Trump sparks internet conspiracy frenzy after wearing Trump 2028 hat and saying he will do it again at White House correspondent dinner. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Apostle Hart said that before, because it's either Trump's going to die, something's going to happen to him, right? I'm not saying, I'm just saying something's going to happen. Like he might die, maybe he gets sick and he dies. And then maybe JD Vance goes in and he's worse than Trump. Or, Trump continues. And he's like, until we're out of here, it's going to be Trump. And it would make sense that it would be Trump because it talks about, we know he's Nero, right? Nero burnt Rome. Because of Nero's actions, Rome was on fire. So that's literally what Trump is doing. He's burning Rome. And Rome also means the kingdom of Rome. So all the kingdom of Rome, Rome's kingdom, its system, he's burning it. That's what's happening. So it would make more sense that everything would end with Trump being as president in Babylon, which is America, right? But we'll see. But I mean, Trump 2020, I can see that. I can see that. Oh, he's 80. He's not taking care of himself. So I can't have this thing here. This advertisement shit. So yeah, I mean, yeah, remember he has bosses. So Trump's bosses told him, yeah, you're gonna be going again. Right? Like he has bosses. You remember that. He's just a manager. Everyone looks at him like, oh, he's the ruler of Babylon. No, he's not. Right? You can say he has a position of Lord, but he's not the overseer. He's not the owner. Right? He's just a manager of that company. That's it. That's it. But these people are so stupid that they don't understand that. So they look at Trump like, oh, he's a free leader, blah, 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 blah. He makes all the rules. Like, no. Anyways, it was just that. Like, I'm not going to go read the article. Don't really care for what's written there. Okay. So message to Egypt. So Egypt is talking about spiritual Egypt, which spiritual Egypt is America, which is also called Babylon, which is also called Sodom, right? The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. The Lord Yahweh Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. So what's that cloud? The cloud's a chariot, because chariots are also referred to as clouds. So when it says the Lord Yahweh, I always say Yahweh, well, not I, we in GMS, we say Yahweh Yahushai, right? But Yahushai is going to be coming in the fathership, which is fathership. Whose father? Yahweh. So it's going to be a big ship, right? That's why you always use Yahweh wa Yahushai. You always say Yahweh, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, right? Or Yahweh Yahushai, right? Because Yahushai is going to be coming in the power of his father, the strength of his father. So one thing is he's coming in that ship, right? The fathership. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud, so a quick cloud. That's how you know it's not an actual cloud, because when are clouds ever swift? Have you ever seen a cloud that's swift? Like an actual cloud that's swift? No. So it's obviously not referring to an actual cloud. But the reason why it also says cloud is because the chariots have the ability to cloak themselves as clouds. Right? And you see them in these movies where you see these chariots or UFOs that are like, they have a cloud cloaking system, or they always hide in clouds. Right? I shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart, right, of Egypt shall be melt in the midst of it. So what's the heart of Egypt? Right? What's the heart of Egypt? No, Egypt is, remember, spiritual Egypt. Right? Spiritual Egypt. So Egypt's kingdom has went over the whole earth, pretty much. So when I say Egypt, I'm talking about America. America's kingdom, their reach, their kingdom, is all over the whole earth. They have army bunkers and bases all over the whole earth. They have, now they're losing these ones too. They're losing these embassies. That's the word I'm looking for. They're losing these embassies, but they're pretty much all over the whole earth. So their reach is all over the whole earth. But where's the heart of Rome? Where's the heart of America? Sorry, I can say, I just give you the answer. Where's the heart of Babylon? Where's the heart of Egypt? The heart of Egypt is America. That's the heart. That's the heart. So it says, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. So the heart of Egypt is going to melt. So Babylon, America, is going to be hit with missiles. Right? Thus saith the Lord. Right? ICBM missiles. Because that's the heart of Egypt. Because Egypt is now over the whole earth. Right? Spiritual Egypt. So what's the heart of it? America. And it says, I will set Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right? So that's Romans. Romans are going to be fighting against Romans. Okay? So in America, you're going to be seeing this, civil wars. Right? And then on top of it, you're going to have Romans in different countries. So you have like America fighting against France, America fighting against Germany, right? Et cetera, because they're all Romans, or they're all Egyptians, because they're under this Egyptian rule, but they're gonna be fighting against each other. That's why it also says, it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, so everyone of their kind. So you're gonna have Edomites fighting against Edomites, everyone against his neighbor, so neighbors, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So kingdoms is countries. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So they're going to go through all these wizards and charmers and soothsayers and psychics, right? Astrologists, and they're not going to get any answers, And the Egyptians will I give, here's the point, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. So he said he's going to give the Egyptians over to the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them. Saith the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, the Lord of hosts. So who's that cruel Lord? That's Trump. Right? So he's saying that he's telling you when this stuff is going to be happening, when we're getting close to this point, because he's going to give everyone to a cruel Lord. Right? Joe Biden wasn't a cruel Lord. Trump is a cruel Lord. They're total opposites. Joe Biden, his nickname was Sleepy Joe. He was always asleep. Trump's not really sleeping. He's awake. He's doing shit. Total opposite energy. So it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So Trump knows he has a short time. That's why he's moving with so much speed, right? But Trump is being backed by his guys, his handlers, his bosses, right? So it's really them. When it talks about the devil, it's talking about them. But Trump is the face. Trump is the there's another word. You can say fall guy. There's another word. Fuck, there's another word for that. But he's the fall guy. He's the guy that you see. So he represents them. Right? So when you see Trump coming with great wrath, it's really the ones on top coming with the great wrath. The devil. Trump is a devil, but he's not the devil. He's not the elites. Like, he's not the guys that are making all the shots about how this earth is ran. Right? The earth is given in the hand of the wicked. Job 9:24. Right? Because they know they have a short time. They can see in the sky. They're seeing all the signs. They're seeing the chariots. They're seeing what's going on the planet. They're seeing the Israelites, right? Preaching truth. They see all these things happening where they're their psychology, right? Their psychology and their brainwashing is not working anymore. People are just waking up. They can just see that they can see the holes in the matrix. They can see that there's a matrix. They can see that these things don't make any sense. But before, it used to work. You know, all the money they spent on psychology and all this stuff to dumb down the people, it's not working anymore. So they know they're getting closer to the end. So they have to speed up, right? Because they're panicking. So they're going to speed up and try to push their agenda faster, which their main agenda is to chip everybody, right? The MOTB, which is the micro RFID CHIP, okay? So then we're going to go to this last one here. I don't know what's going on. Okay, 2 Ezra 6 and 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the reason why I read that is because to add to further what I'm saying, that, you know, Trump, I believe Trump will be the last president. You know, him saying Trump 2028, that, you know, I can see that happening, which also hints to the fact that he'll be the last president because he's going to be back again, is that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So in America, which is Egypt, Babylon, America would end with an Edomite as their king, Edomite as their ruler, right? Because you could have said Obama, because Obama is not, well, from what we know, he's not an Edomite. Maybe he is, but, you know, he's not a known Edomite. You don't look at him and say, oh, this guy's a white guy. He looks like he's a Hamite. He tries to act like he's Jake, but before we know, he's actually a Hamite. So that would really make sense. So it makes sense. It would have to be someone who's a pure-blooded Edomite who just represents Esau. He's just for Edomites. Obama wasn't really necessary for Edomites. He put out the image like he's for Jake. He did Jake stuff, right? You know, he had anyways, his I know I'm not going to say that, but Trump is for Esau. He's for Esau. He's for the Edomites, right? He's an Edomite, you know. But anyways, that's it. That's it on that. So, no, Trump coming back or continuing, I can easily see that, because people think that the rules are like, oh, well, you have 2 terms. We're forgetting that this is the end. The elites are going to do something, and there's going to be some special reason, and then Trump's going to be back in office again. Because they control everything. It's their work. The earth is given to their hands, so they can do whatever they want within the means and the confines of Yahweh Yahushai. Anyways, that's it on that. I'd like to close out by saying, Kahala Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and to hopefully push his word in truth and sincerity across the 4 corners of the earth. Abad, Babal, Kwam Yasha Allah, and Shalom.